Hello and welcome to another retro edition of the Weekly Waypoint. Today we are playing a relic from the past, a racing game called Circuit Breakers for the PlayStation 1. Yeah, this wasn't like my favourite racing game. I've already covered that with RC Revenge, which I intend to revisit because I just watched that one and it's the one where my cat died recently and it's actually quite sad. So should probably put some happier memories into RC Revenge, one of my favourite racing games on PS1 of all time, but this popped up in my mind recently, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not emulate it? I do own it, Nintendo. I do own it, Sony. I do own it, whichever company made this game that went bust years and years ago. Hang on, let me go look for them. Oh, I'm sorry, I might be mistaken on that front. It was made by Supersonic Software, and the last game they put out was in 2018. It looks like they've just been making mostly puzzle games on phones for the last decade, but I guess they still exist. Interesting. I love when you look this stuff up on Wikipedia and it's like stuff you would have never known otherwise. They made Mashed! Oh my god, sorry. Mashed. When I was playing this a minute ago, I actually had a thought that it had similarities to Mashed. Mashed? Think this, but Micro Machines on PS2. Like Micro Machines style racing where the camera follows the person in the lead and there's weapons and stuff. There's weapons in this, but the power-ups, to be frank, aren't very good in this in this game. But it's actually quite a revelation to me that this evolved into Mashed. I'm gonna go share that news with my dad because we played both of these games multiplayer when I was a kid. It looks like they also did some of the earlier Micro Machines games, but not the original. The only Micro Machines games I've ever played, I guess I'll get one on the Weekly Waypoint at some point. You know what? Sure, let's just transform the Weekly Waypoint into a retro game showcase for the next few months, maybe. How about that? I mean, I've kind of already been doing it without knowing. But yeah, prepare to see a lot more old-ass games on here. If you have any specific requests, let me know, but it has to be PlayStation 1 or Nintendo DS or GBA, or something easy to emulate that I, already own. I have actually mentioned this game in the past before. There is a level which you will see coming up called Venice, and it apparently when I was a kid made me freak out, like, I don't know the details, I don't remember it, but according to my dad it made me freak out. Like, no game has ever made me freak out, like I was having some kind of fit or something, like maybe probably not that extreme, but like he turned the PlayStation off, made sure I was alright. So this is the only game that's ever messed with my head as a kid, I guess. I can't see why, to be honest. It's got a weird vibe to it. It's got some weird load-on-demand stuff in the distance. I think it was a bit more fog-heavy on the actual PlayStation. That might be a result of emulation, or just my memory going. But I'll tell you one thing, it's a pretty decent racer. It's pretty fun. It's very focused on adjusting to camera angle changes and, you know, what your turns mean in you know, I'm making it sound more complicated, but it is. It's something you do automatically, but something you don't have to think about with most racing games. And also, it's very kind of like you get punished a lot for like bumping into walls or other vehicles, so it's very kind of physics based, I would say, in that way. But as you can see, the power-ups are pretty crummy. The soundtrack is kind of a bop. I mean, on some levels it's not so much, but the desert level coming up, absolutely a bop, absolutely a banger. Love it, love to hear it. Oh, Supersonic Software did actually make Micro Machines V4 for the PS2, which was one of the only other Micro Machines games I've ever played, which is sadly not a very good Micro Machines game in my opinion, or at least it wasn't what I was looking for. Let's take a look at the critical reception. I'm going down a Wikipedia hole live. Yeah, 6 out of 10s across the board on that one. What did this game get? This game got a few 8 out of 10s. That's pretty decent, huh? It's also worth noting this game got a sequel. This game is in itself a sequel to a game I've never played called Supersonic Racers, and it also got a sequel called Circuit Blasters for the PS2, which I only learned about. I only knew of its existence like a month or two ago. It's honestly, if you've never done it, it's fascinating looking at Wikipedia pages of your favourite childhood games. Maybe it's not fascinating if you're not me, but I find it fascinating to look up stuff and find trivia about these games which just kind of existed in your life and you never knew all these extra things about them, such as the fact that they might have a sequel. For instance, RC Revenge in itself is a sequel to a much more popular and better known game, RC, oh fuck, what's it called? Sorry, not RC at all, it's Revolt. Everyone loves Revolt. I've played it, it's not as good as RC Revenge in my opinion. But let's be real, when it comes to PlayStation 1 games at this point, it's all about nostalgia factor, rose tinted glasses and all that. Okay, let's talk about something that isn't emulating PlayStation 1 games. Sorry, that guy on the right of me just ate shit. Lego Star Wars for Skywalker Saga comes out tomorrow, and I could not be more excited. I can't remember if I mentioned this last week, but it feels like I have something kind of every week to be a little bit excited about. I think I did mention this. So last week it was Sylvanas. If you want my thoughts on that, I've got a whole damn near hour-long video on it on this channel. But yeah, this week it's Lego Star Wars. Next week it's my week off, and then the week after that it's the announcement of the next WoW expansion. I honestly do look towards things that make me excited in life, and if I go too long without anything on the calendar, it does kind of put me down a bit. In related news, E3 is cancelled, but I'm not getting sidetracked here. I want to talk about Lego Star Wars. This time next week I will have played it, and I keep reminding myself that there's a chance I'm overhyping this. After all, it is another Lego game, but I mean, just look at it. Everything that comes out about it makes it look phenomenal. There was a hour-long... I haven't seen everything that's come out about it, by the way. I want to, you know, experience some of the game for myself, but there was a hour-long, or 90-minute long, I believe, preview that someone put out because they got the chance to go and play it, and... did I talk about this already? I hope I didn't. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. It was the first 3 levels of episode 4, and all I'll say is, like, I know it's not going to be a perfect game because one of the levels you're literally just rebuilding the Millennium Falcon and fighting off waves of stormtroopers, and that looks a little bit dull. I'm kind of expecting this to be one of those games that I'm super excited for, and then I play a whole bunch of, but I don't play it to completion all in one go, and I end up wandering off and playing other games and going, man, I was so obsessed with waiting for this game and I'm really enjoying it, but I'm gonna go off and play other things for a while. That's probably what this game's gonna be, but that doesn't change the fact that I'm stupid excited about it. My absolute favourite thing is, this is how far my levels of hype has reached. I listen to a gaming podcast called The Core Podcast, part of the Frog Pants Network. You can find it anywhere. And I don't know why I'm advertising for them. And I actually emailed in because last week they were like, oh yeah, and I guess people are excited for this Lego Star Wars game. I don't know why people are excited for a Lego game. And I emailed in and was like, no, listen. This is why we're excited for a Lego Star Wars game. And it seems like they were like, oh hey, actually it does look like kind of decent and better than a normal Lego game and stuff like that, and that gave me the tinglies. But enough about what I'm looking forward to playing. What have I been playing this week? Well, it's more of the same, basically just the Fortnite World of Warcraft wombo combo. Don't know why I called it a wombo combo, but I've said it now. I could remove it in editing, but I'm not going to. That's how much of a mad lad I am. I finished leveling my Frost Mage, which is of note because that Frost Mage is a guy called Arakesh who has his own YouTube series, and that's going to be coming to an end now. It's going to be a 4-part series when all is said and done, and because I'm kind of doing this thing where I'm leveling a character for an expansion and then another character for another expansion, because you can do that now in WoW, I'm starting my World of Warcraft Wrath of the Lich King character, and she is a Lightforged Draenei Death Knight. Her name is Julvira, or Yulvira, if you're going to pronounce it the way she does, and she seems pretty cool. I'm excited to play her. In Fortnite, they've decided to keep Zero Build, and that's relevant to me because I was only going to keep playing for as long as Zero Build was a thing. So hey, I guess I'm going to keep playing Zero Build. There is a Fortnite Shenanigans video coming up next week? Maybe this Sunday, not sure. And it reminds me of the Overwatch Shenanigans videos I used to make, of just like the dumb shit we'd say when playing that game. And yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I'm really excited for you to see it. It's one of my favourite videos I've ever made. Speaking of Blizzard games, the title of the next expansion got leaked, and we're pretty like 99.9% sure it's real because it was directly data mined from the code for pre-purchase stuff on the store. So that's pretty much like real. It's called what it's called. And there was also some concept art which leaked like a couple of hours later, and just going by the fact that it matches up with the name, and how real it looks like in terms of art, and how difficult it would be to make that in time. Someone's either really fucking talented and lucky with timing and guesses, or more likely it's another part of a leak, so we know what the kind of big concept art is going to be for the expansion. And I think that's a good thing. Obviously not for the developers, who are hoping to make it one big surprise on April the 18th or whatever it's meant to be, but I think it's good for us because it gives us something to go off of. That's all we know, the title and the concept art, so now we get to be like, ooh, what's going to be in the expansion? Where are we going with that name? You know, what are the themes of this expansion? It gives us a talking point at least. And if you don't want to know, then I suggest you skip to the next chapter in this video now. It's called World of Warcraft Dragonflight, and I was a bit iffy on that name when I first heard it, but it is growing on me. It sounds like it should be World of Warcraft Dragonflights, because there is more than a single dragon flight, but also people have pointed out that, hey, maybe it's called that because the theme is that we're trying to unite the dragonflights to fight against an external threat. I don't fucking know. But like, what if it's the Infinite Dragonflight? They've interested me since they've been in the game, and I guess it kind of leans into the timey-wimey stuff that people didn't like with Warlords of Draenor, but I don't know, dude. They could make it cool. It does dawn on me that everyone loves a multiverse right now, so maybe Blizzard are going to use them to establish a multiverse, but I mean, I love World of Warcraft's universe so much that I'd be down for just like, oh hey, what if there was a universe where stuff happened differently and we get to go and explore that? That's kind of already a thing in certain circumstances, but not really. I mean, Warlords of Draenor is kind of an alternate universe, but you know what I mean, like the kind of multiverse that's currently in Marvel and that kind of thing. I don't think there's a high chance they're going to be going with the Infinite Dragonflight as the main enemy. I think it's a possibility, but and probably like they'll factor into it in some way or another, but they don't necessarily have to be the big bad. My concern is I'm not crazy about dragons in World of Warcraft. I don't think they're that cool. Maybe because most of the lore surrounding them takes place in Wrath of the Lich King and Cataclysm, and the kind of narrative sensibilities of those expansions are outdated, and dragons just, I don't think, were done very well and aren't that interesting. But maybe this upcoming expansion is going to change all that. However, I do fully expect to have to pick a dragonflight to align myself with, and I'm a druid, so of course I'm going to be going with the Emerald Dragonflight. I don't know, hopefully it's not too cookie cutter in regards to like Covenants equal dragonflights, you know? Like, I want to see them push the boat out and change some stuff. But then Covenants were that kind of change in themselves. They just weren't received very well, so I don't know, man. I guess we'll see what the future brings on all of that. Huh? Will we? Maybe. Maybe there'll be a future. I don't know. I'm not fucking clairvoyant. The world could end tomorrow. Hope it doesn't. I want to play World of Warcraft Dragonflight. Nah, it still feels weird to say. Listen, all I want is class skins. Talius, if you don't know what that is, Talius and Neville, they did a video where they pitched an idea where class skins, it's the same class but it's a different skin. Dark Ranger, Hunter becomes Dark Ranger, that kind of thing. I just want that, please. I'll also just accept a Dark Ranger class, or, you know, hopefully not Tinker. Don't want Tinker. Okay, we're done talking about World of Warcraft now. Speaking of Blizzard properties, I just finished Sylvanas. As I mentioned, I've already got a video where I talk about that enough, fucking hell. But it kind of left me with like I don't really, like, it's not that I don't have anything to read, I'm continuing the Wheel of Time read through I was already doing, but it's kind of like you go to bed and you're like, in your subconscious routines, you're like, now to pick up Sylvanas, and it's like, oh, there's no more Sylvanas to read, and now I'm sad because I really enjoyed it. So what did I do to fill the void? Well, I bought a year of Marvel Unlimited, which I've done before, by the way, and I didn't regret last time, so, I mean, it's a good service. Last time I used it to read through, oh god, I've put myself on the spot. Sorry to pause time on you, but it seems like a bit of commentary I said vanished into the ether. All I want to add is I said here that I read through Ultimate Spider-Man and Ultimate Fantastic Four. I read a bunch of Spider-Man Miles Morales, I think it was called, when he first entered the main Marvel canon. I read a bunch of the original Amazing Spider-Man comics. Are you sensing a theme here? I'm a Spider fan. I read some Thor stuff and some Iron Man stuff. This time I'm reading Spider-Man, starting from Volume 5. It's kind of a soft reboot, but it does... I kind of went on a bit of a rant about this on Twitter. They're like, it's a reboot. You can hop in fresh without having to need to know anything prior, but it's like, it's not really a reboot because they spend half of each chapter being like, or fucking issue being like, okay, and here's this guy. Oh, by the way, we should explain. This guy appeared here, he was doing this, and then he died, but then he came back, and now he's a clone, but now he's not really a clone, but now he's come back, and his son looks like this, and now his son looks like this, and now he's doing this, and now we have to go chase after his son. And it's like, oh my god, you can't just tell a fresh story in the Marvel comics universe at all, because there is so much fucking baggage. Part of me really wishes they'd pull a New 52 on this, but I mean, DC didn't even keep to their New 52 stuff, so I guess this is just an academic point, huh? Like, it's fine, it doesn't ruin my enjoyment, but it stands out to me. Like, I would like to kind of like start fresh, and that's what Ultimate Spider-Man was, I guess. It was its own universe, alongside other Ultimate lineups. Maybe they should just kind of do that again? I don't know. Because even if I were to go and read the last 700 issues of The Amazing Spider-Man to get caught up on all the Spider-Man lore, there are several times when he's like, oh, okay, I'm back from defeating Thanos, and you're like, wait, what? Wait, when did that happen? What? I don't actually know if that's how that went, by the way. I haven't gotten to that point in the comics, but it's like, there's so many like crossover events, it's you'd need like the biggest fucking spider web in the world to keep track of everything and read it all in order. I wonder if anyone's actually got that list. That would be curious, like starting from the very start and then just like reading through, like, okay, now go read this issue of X-Men, now go read this issue of Spider-Man. It would take you like a month to get through like a week of comics. Anyway, something I saw on the service which excited me is they have some of the Star Wars High Republic stuff. It's my first taste of Star Wars High Republic stuff because I haven't actually read the books yet. They've only just started making this stuff. If you don't know what it is, it's set 200 years before the prequels. Would we rather they were doing the Old Republic stuff and making that canon? Yes, but this is what we've got, so this is what we're going with. And it kind of like has prequel aesthetic, which I've always really enjoyed anyway, so it's fine. And to be honest, from what I've read of it so far, I'm like 3 issues in, so really early on, but I'm 3 issues into the main Star Wars The High Republic comic run, and I'm really enjoying it so far. It's got me hooked. The Star Wars comic stuff is usually pretty good in my experience. That's another thing I did last time I had a year of Marvel Unlimited. I used it to read Star Wars Vader. I don't remember if that's what it's called, but it was like a comic run from... This is all like canon stuff, by the way, not legacy stuff. So the Vader stuff, that's now canon, and I believe I read it was just called Star Wars, maybe. And I read those 2 in tandem, as you're kind of supposed to. Don't know if either of those are still going, by the way. Maybe I just got up to date to the point that it was currently at, and I need to go back and keep reading it. I don't really remember all of the storylines, so that might be a bad idea. Also, very quickly before we end, let's talk about Moon Knight. Moon Knight came out, the first episode, on Disney Plus, and I think it was pretty good. Oscar Isaac is very good at what he does, and yeah, it's just interesting to see how this will unfold. It's a bit silly. Moon Knight's always been a bit... Well, I say that, I don't know shit about Moon Knight, but from what I've read of his exploits, it all seems a little bit absurd, so it seems like they're leaning into that a little bit. Anyway, that brings this video to a close. Thank you for watching. This was Circuit Breakers. Who knows what I'll be playing next week? Maybe give me a suggestion down below. Do it, you won't.